Alrighty, here's another one. So, business math, we are on chapter 12, section 3, and this one's called buying stocks. So, we've been looking at a few, let's see, for chapter 12, we started with certificate of deposit, and we went through kind of somewhat of a basic calculation for that one. And then section 2 was also staying on certificates of deposit, but it was moving into a new calculation of annual percentage yield, just so that we can see a different type of comparison as far as how much money you can make off of CDs or certificate of deposits. So now we're going to look at buying stocks. This section, honestly, it's not too bad. It's pretty straightforward calculation. So we're going to look at a couple of these, and then we're going to move right on to section 4 here. So again, if you're not already doing so, you should be opening your book, looking through the section, reading the material, looking at the examples. Don't just jump into the worksheets and hope that everything that you need is here. You want to learn from the chapter before you try it here. So they always give us a little basically summary of what we're going to be doing at the top here. So when you purchase a share of stock, you become part of the owner of a corporation that issues the stock. The total amount you pay for the stock depends on the cost per share, the number of shares you purchase, and the stockbroker's commission. So there's a couple of things you have to take into account when you're buying stocks. There's a whole lot more into deciding which stock you're going to buy, but right now we're just going to focus on the very simple. You've already decided which one, and here's some of the basics about it. So here's the formulas they give us here. I want to change that because I like the kind of chisel marker here a little bit bigger. So the cost of the stocks, it equals the number of shares you're buying times the cost per share. So that's pretty straightforward. So however many you're buying and then the cost. So a lot like buying something from the store. You know, if I buy a pencil for $1, it's $1. If I buy 2 pencils for $1, it's $2. Same thing with shares. We're just buying pieces of a company instead of simple little items like a pencil. Total paid is just the cost of the stock. So how much did you pay total for all of your stock? And then the commission, because you also have to pay the commission either to kind of the robotic company that you're buying it from, because you can do things online. There's usually still a broker involved with that. That's why you're paying the commission. Or you directly have a broker doing these things for you. So instead of you buying and selling stock, you have someone doing that for you and you pay them a commission. So either way, you end up paying a commission. You have to pay to participate. So we're going to do in this first one, we're going to look at, we're just going to look at number 1, and then I'll let you fill out the rest of the chart here. So they let us know what the company is for the stocks. Not terribly important, honestly, to calculate this out, but it gives us some context so we know which company we're buying it from. They tell us how many shares we're buying and how much it costs us for every single share. And they want to know the cost of the stock. How much are we going to pay for this stock? So we simply take the number of shares and we multiply by the cost per stock here. So 1125 times 500. So when we multiply this together, we end up with, I'm going to zoom in a little bit here because I think that's why it looks kind of funny. Close. Or I changed the size of my pen here. So $5,625 even. So no cents in here. So we end up evening those 25 cents off. So this is how much I'm going to spend just to buy those 500 stocks. Now there's a $9 commission, $9.90. So I literally just add this together. Cost of my stock plus my commission, and that's going to equal, oh, I forgot my equal sign here. Sorry, I throw these on there just to kind of follow what I'm doing here. So that equals the $5,634.99. So there is a simple calculation here. There isn't a whole lot to write down as far as work goes. Always make sure you're writing your work down, especially if you're doing calculations off to the side or anything like that. With this one, it's a pretty straightforward calculation. You're just going to multiply these and write the answer in here, and then add these and write the answer right here in the end. So not a whole lot extra to write down other than fill in the chart here. So looking down here at these word problems, same idea. We're not really going to change anything up here. It's going to be very similar calculations to what we just did. They're just giving us a little bit more of a situation or a context, sorry, losing my words. So they're giving us a little more context. So Tanya Elliott purchased 400 shares of Frontier Oil for $19 per share, and she paid $29 commission. So same idea as this table up here. I have my number of shares. I know how much it costs per share. So I'm going to multiply, and that'll tell me the cost of the stock. And then when it says the total amount paid, well, that's that last column where we add how much did we spend on stocks plus my commission. I just add those together and I get that second amount here. So pretty straightforward on this one. Not going to do the calculation for you there. The second one, I did want to point out something. They're throwing a little something different here. So Alan DeLucia purchased 1,000 shares of FPC Enterprise at $38.54 per share. So that's pretty normal so far. And paid 35 cents per share on commission. So they're not telling me that it's just a $29.95 commission, like a flat fee. It's 35 cents for every share I buy. So this is a little different. So we need to calculate the first one the same way. We're going to do 1,000 shares times how much it costs per share. This first calculation doesn't change. But the total paid, I'm going to need to know how much first does my stock pay, which is part A here. You need to calculate that. And then I'm going to add 1,000 times 35 cents. I should put a 0 on the front there, sorry. So this is times, like that. So this ends up being a $350 commission because 1,000 times 35 cents is $350. So I end up having a $350 commission. Depends on how many stocks I buy in this case. So that's why they're doing it that way. Sometimes commissions are just flat fees, $9.99, $29.95, like a couple we've looked at, or it's per share. So the more you buy, the more they get. So it does kind of depend. Sometimes the flat fees are also changing based on the number of stocks you buy. So the more stocks you buy, the more the fee is. So kind of stocks can definitely get a little bit more complicated than this, but they're trying to simplify it as much as they can. So just make sure you're paying attention. Is it a flat fee or is it per share? So same thing here. So it says a commission of 1.2% of the cost of the stock for this one. So for number 6, same idea, but you're going to calculate the cost of the stock right here. So we know our number of shares and we know how much it is per share. Remember, it might be a little bit mixed in the problem, but they give you the information you need. So we're going to multiply the two numbers to get the cost of the stock. And then it's the total cost of the stock is my commission. So I'm going to multiply by 1.25. It's not 1.25 per share. It's total cost. It's a percentage. So I'm going to multiply the total cost here by 1.25%, and that'll tell me how much my commission is. So that's another way they do commission is by percentage of the total cost. So the more expensive stock you buy, the more you're going to pay here. And then what was total paid? Again, you just add how much did you pay in stock, how much commission, you add those two together, and that's your total cost. Down here, this one gets a little more complicated. He's buying 2 different kinds of stock. So after consulting with his broker, Don Houchsettler purchases 2,000 shares of Fallon Energy at $20 per share. He also purchases 1,500 shares of Macworld Scientific at $56.24 per share. The commission is 0.1%. That's a very tiny commission. So kind of awesome there. Very, very small commission. Make sure when you're typing this in that you hit the percent button or you move it over. So this, you wouldn't type this in your calculator like this and hit enter once you hit multiply. You want to move this over 1, 2, and so you'd have 0, 0, 1. But if you type it in your calculator 0.1 and hit the percent button, which is right next to the division symbol usually, it'll actually move the decimal for you. So kind of a nice thing there. So the main thing I wanted to point out on this one is that it's asking you what was the total cost of Fallon Energy stock. So they're asking you to focus on one of the 2 that he's buying, just the Fallon Energy stock, the first one they gave us here. And then what was his commission? And they should have said on Fallon Energy stock because that's what they're asking you here. So you're going to calculate the commission, the 0.1% of the total for Fallon Energy stock, And then the bottom one says, what is the total value of stocks, including the commission? So they didn't give you lines to calculate Macworld Scientific, but they want you to calculate it. So that's where you're going to do it. It's down here in part C. You're going to have to calculate how much did it cost to buy the Macworld stock and how much commission is he paying for it, and then add those two to the first two you did. And that'll be the answer for number 3. So there's a couple calculations in that part C there that you have to pay attention to. So they're just not separating it out for you on that one. But I hope that helped, and I will see you in section 4.